Hey everybody. Okay, welcome back. We're apparently we are not done for the night. I guess we have got Casey and Mike and Michael both to do a little more work on their stuff and spend time with y'all on camera. So I am going to step away for a few, but the three of them will entertain you nonstop for the next hour or so. All right, no pressure. No pressure.
Can you
All
send
right.
me the comments link, Stefan? For the
Oh,
so I can see it.
do you
So I
not
can see
have
the
it?
chat. Yeah, I don't think I got the.
Is it the same link as it was before?
Yeah, yep. Same as before. Oh, you know what, Mike? I sent it in a chat. I didn't send it to WhatsApp. Or
Yeah.
I just sent it to you in WhatsApp, buddy. Oh no,
Okay.
didn't send you the wrong thing. Hang on.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
All right, y'all. I'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, man.
See you then.
So do you get out to a lot of shows, KC? Do you do any touring with the Comic Cons that much, or?
There were a few in Wisconsin I used to go to regularly, but COVID shut them down, and I'm waiting to see what comes up.
I gotcha. Yep.
I go as a attendee at C2E2 every year because that's driving distance.
Oh, nice.
And then I've been going to Granite State just because there's so many cool turtle people there.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, COVID, when the shows all ended, I didn't know how that was going to go down. I didn't know what was going to happen next. So I really did start to pivot and go online at that point because it was, we just didn't know. So much of my income came from doing the shows that I thought for sure we were doomed,
Yeah.
But the online stuff picked up.
Well, the whole world kind of went online, so.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Andreas, how you doing, man? Hey, I wanted to tell you, your package is on the way. Your Dodge package is on the way, but I don't know how many people are watching right now. But Andreas did 2 killer pinups. Actually, he did 3 killer pinups. 2 of them are in this book, so they're a nice double-page spread. So there's this first piece there. And the second piece, and I just love these pieces, and they reproduced really well in the book, I think. So I just wanted to show you, man. Thank you again for the amazing work. It really is a nice treat at the end of the 3rd issue to see these pinups in here. My friend Matt Salisbury also did this cool Dodge pinup, which I love, and he's a good cat. He lives around too. Anyway, yeah. The whole book came together really nice, and yours will be coming to you soon, Andreas. Yeah, I think you're gonna like it, man. It's a good story.
I'm back.
There he is.
7 o'clock now, so I guess I can crack open a beer now.
Oh yeah, it's only 7 o'clock there for you, right? Yeah. What time zone? I'm wondering about my geography here, Casey. What time is it for you right now? 10?
For me, it's 9, just after. So I'm Central Standard Time.
I gotcha. Cool. Nice. Get some white highlights on here, I think, and then yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling to draw this week. I'm working on a cool project, and I should be really excited about it, but I'm having a hard time making the wheels turn, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, well, if it helps at all, in my experience, telling yourself I should be excited about this kind of adds to the pressure.
It absolutely does. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Does.
So if I could give you any guidance, any gift, it would be try not to tell yourself that you're supposed to be feeling anyway.
No, that's good advice for sure. It's crazy the pressure we put on ourselves on stuff. This is a property that I really like. I'm unfortunately not allowed to say what it is, but it's one that I really like, and it's one that I've always kind of thought would be cool to work on. But now that I'm working on it, I'm realizing that there's some challenges for sure that I hadn't considered. And anyway, yeah, I'm hoping it's gonna be all right. It's hard to focus when I'm in the middle of shipping mode. I kind of have two modes. I have like work drawing mode, and then I have like pack and ship mode because it's and when you're doing a Kickstarter, we have something like 178 pieces of mail. It's a lot of packing comic books, and it's a lot of, and I'm trying to get them all done this month because we were supposed to have them all done in September, but we had some delays with the printing, which held everything back. And I know everyone who supported Dodge is super cool, but I still feel bad about it when we're not exactly on time.
Sure.
So I'm just hoping I can knock it out in the next couple of days. But like, I've kind of got my brain split in a bunch of different directions right now, and none of them can focus. So it's been frustrating. But I'll get there. I'll get there. It's a weekend, and tomorrow's kind of a chill day. I should be able to make some progress, hopefully, on one of the tasks. Anyway, one of the three big tasks in front of me right now.
All right, trying to get the chat to come up for me, just in case anybody sticks around with us. At least I have you guys for company. You're good company.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that. Oh, it's always nice to draw with people. I miss doing it, actually. That was something that I used to spend a lot of time doing in the summertime, especially, was just like finding a park and hanging out with my friends and drawing. It's obviously COVID changed all that, but it's yeah, it's nice to have company for sure.
Absolutely. Nobody in my life, though. I'm at home by myself every single day.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I hear you, man.
I love that snuffle up, I guess.
Oh,
It really is so good.
oh, thanks. Well, it's kind of it was kind of sitting right there, it just it's such a, I think it's such an easy match in a way. It maybe a little bit too easy, but no, it felt like a good one. It was a good idea Danny had. Hey Tim, nice to see you, man. Or nice to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're good. Tim's
Are
one
you
of our regulars.
Tim? Yeah. I
Tim,
can't see the
yeah.
chat. That's amazing. Hi, Tim.
Oh. Hey, Alicia's still here. There she is.
Alicia. Alicia, it was your birthday today, right?
I think so, yeah.
Nice to meet you too, Tim. So, Alicia, I gotta say, knowing it's your birthday, it means a little more. Like you're deliberately choosing to stay with us extra on your birthday. That's so sweet.
Alicia is a dyed in the wool tags supporter, though. She's a big part of this machine for sure.
Aw.
Where are my pencil crayons? Where did I put you?
Apologize for that buzzing noise if you can hear it. That's my crappy computer.
Oh, no worries, man. I've got some ape driving around in a dirt bike out here every so often that rips past the window. It's ridiculous. Yeah. People don't obey any of the sound bylaws in town. We live in a downtown strip above like businesses, but everyone just assumes that when the businesses are closed that no one lives here. So people like drag race in front of our house all the time, and like 2 in the
Good
morning, 3 in
Lord.
the morning. It's
That's no
bananas.
good.
Alicia, did you get a chance to see Maiden on tour this summer? Because they've been touring. I know they've been playing all kinds of shows. I missed the one in Toronto just recently, but I wondered if I thought of you when I saw that they were on tour again. I wondered if you were catching any of those dates where you're at. Yeah, me too. Wish I could have gone. Guy still got it, man. Bruce Dickinson, the guy's a monster. He still moves on a stage like a 24-year-old man. Like he's it's unbelievable. Just flying all over stage, and yeah, they still put on a heck of a show, Iron Maiden. Yeah, they're always a good show. I haven't seen them that many times. I've seen them, I think, 4 times, 4 or 5 times. But they were the first concert that I ever saw was Maiden, and the opening acts were Testament and Corrosion of Conformity. And it was right when Pepper started singing for Corrosion, so it was really good stuff. I think it was the Fear of the Dark tour, which I love. I love that record. That was a good record. All right, now gotta get some.
My new favorite band came to Toronto, but they didn't come to Vancouver.
Who's that?
Helam.
I'm not sure I know them.
Say more about them.
You say it?
What makes tell us more about that. What makes them your favorite?
Helam? It's the type of music that they do. They do the philosophy behind their band is amplified history.
Okay.
And they make all their own instruments.
Whoa.
90% of the music is not, or actually probably 95% of the music is all percussion. So the drums, like some of the drums, like they all different kind of materials, right? Some will have canvas on it, some are leather drums, some are canvas drums.
Oh wow!
And they sing in. What's interesting about them? It doesn't matter if you don't understand what they're saying because they sing in languages that practically nobody will understand unless that's your field of specialty.
Such
They
as?
sing in post-dramatic, post-Norse, Old Norse.
Oh wow, man, cool.
And what else? A little bit. They sing in a little bit of German here and there. A little bit of English here and there. But mainly it's in post-Norse and post-dramatic. That's what they're usually singing in.
More traditional percussion
Wild.
stuff, then, yeah, like.
Yeah, well, they're trying. What they're the reason why amplified history. What they're trying to recreate is what they believe would have been the sound of the music from the Bronze Age and the Iron Age.
Oh wow,
Whoa.
cool, man.
And yeah, it's definitely. I highly recommend looking them up.
Yeah.
The band's name is spelled HEILUNG, and they have a full live show on YouTube called LIFA, LIFA. And yeah, I highly recommend watching that show. Like, you just get your blood pumping. Like,
Wow.
I listen to them all the time when I'm drawing now. Like, it's just like gets my wrist moving, like in a way that no music has ever gotten my wrist moving before.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's awesome. I love when the music can have an effect like that on the work.
Yeah, no, I think you will like them a lot. They, it has a bit of that kind of like a bit of that Viking feel to their music.
Okay, yeah, great on. Sounds great.
Yeah, they're on Spotify too. So.
Huh. Can't find my black pen, man. Where'd you go? This place is a catastrophe.
So, Alicia and Tim, he said the name once. You said Highland? Heilund?
Heilung, yes, Highland.
Oh, with a
Sounds
G?
cool.
Ends with a G?
Yeah, ends with a G.
Okay.
Ends with a G. Okay.
Yeah. Put up. I picked up one of their shirts. I had to order it from the UK.
Mm.
But that's their shirt there.
Oh, right on, man. That's great.
Oh, that's a great design.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then on the back, it's they say this before. They basically, when they start the show, they do a bit of a ritual, and they cleanse all negative spirits out of the concert.
Whoa.
And so this is what they usually say at the start of it. Remember that we are all brothers, all people, beast, tree, and stone, and wind. We all descend from the one great being that was always there before people lived and named it, before the first seeds sprouted.
Huh.
That's really cool.
Cool, man. Yeah, I like it.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, I guess these guys can't hear Michael. Or can
Oh no.
Can any of them hear? Can any of you guys hear Michael talking? That's it. That might
Can
be.
you guys hear me?
That might be on Stefan. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, where?
Oh, weird. Alicia says she can hear you on the phone, Mike, but not on her laptop. So that's interesting.
You can hear me on her phone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the phone's gonna pick up the audio a little better.
Some software.
Tim says
going
he's not
on.
hearing you. Yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
forgot.
wondering where the band is from, Michael. They're
from Europe.
From Europe. Okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Europe, I guess. Tim is the answer.
Yeah, they're the three members are one's Norwegian, one's Danish, and one guy is German.
Okay, cool.
And the female singer, she's Norwegian, and she has absolutely the most astonishing voice that you'll ever hear.
Oh, I love it. Cool, man.
She can carry a note is absolutely phenomenal. I watched a girl that is a vocal coach, and she's a professional opera singer. And I watched her review her voice, and she was just completely blown away by her voice.
Oh, wow.
To the point where she reached out, got in contact with the lead, with a female. I can't remember her name right now, but got in contact with the female singer, and literally, and then had a 1-hour interview with her on her show.
Huh.
Cool.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, they did a bunch of shows in the U.S. Whole bunch of shows just recently. All of them sold out too.
Well, I'm surprised if they came to Toronto, they didn't go to. They didn't also go to BC. I imagine they might have gone to Winnipeg because that used to be a stop for all the metal bands. Everyone used to go to Winnipeg. Used to be like, well, it might even still be the capital of rock and roll in Canada, because I know that a lot of bands would end up going through Winnipeg. But yeah, interesting if they haven't gone to BC yet.
Yeah, only Toronto. That was their only Canadian date.
Huh. Crazy. It's nice to see concerts again. It's been a long time, and my wife and I were able to catch a couple of shows this summer, which
nice.
Yeah, we got to see the band The Shins. We love The Shins, and we got to see Fish. Actually, we saw Fish. I used to be a big Fish guy when I was like in college, and we used to see Fish when we were younger, when we were just babies dating, you know, and so it was funny to see them 20 years later in the same venue, you know, totally different people than we were when we were met in college. So it was pretty fun to catch that band. And
Yeah, we used to have a regular at the restaurant I used to work at, and he has literally seen Fish over 100 times.
oh man, the Fish fans are crazy. Like I was never that level. I love their music, but the ones that really take it far, like they're almost like Grateful Dead fans. Like it's really over the top, you know?
Yeah.
But I love it. Like it's an amazing community. Anytime you're at a big show like that, you know, where you have you know, you just have that kind of longevity of the fans. Like especially if you go to like a Motorhead show or like an Iron Maiden show or something like that, where you have fans in all these different age brackets, you know. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Even a band like Fish, like there was people there in their 70s, there was people there who were under 10, you know, like it was it's got a really big reach, some bands like that. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Andreas. Yeah, I know, like, man, concert scene has just got to be crazy now with COVID and everything, you know, affecting everything. But yeah, I know getting shows out in the prairies is tough for sure, I bet. It's a big country, man. It's a big country, and you know, used to be that there was just certain states. If you're a band in anywhere in North America, there were just places in Canada that you always went to because you were always gonna, you know, always gonna be a success. You're always gonna fill the house. But yeah, this paint is doing something weird on me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Smolatow one for all pens. They're great because they're really solid acrylic and it's a nice fluid flow to them, but they can sometimes react funny with other materials, and they go down really shiny. Yeah, it's really crazy.
Hmm.
You almost get like a strange sheen to them. Anyway.
Oh, Stefan turned off his camera.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just lurking.
That's cool.
Yeah, I figured that way I could, you know, eat and drink, and you guys don't have to see me do that. And that way I can keep kind of shuffling around the images on screen, give people full screens of you guys.
That's nice of you.
Here,
Thank you.
here's a question for two fellow artists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My issue is sharpening my Prismacolor pencil crayons, and because my lead's always the crayon always breaks.
Yep.
Yeah, they are so soft with me. Like I have found that there's two things that help. The first is making sure you never drop the pencils because the core will break inside the wood.
Yeah.
And then the second is you either need to use a mechanical one that's going to move so smoothly that you barely need to touch the pencil, or you need to use a handheld and go super slow so that you're not generating any kind of unpredictable force.
Yeah.
But they are
I hate to say it, but because I don't normally subscribe to this kind of thinking, but the Prismacolor actually makes a pencil sharpeners for their pencil crayons. It's actually just this weird thing here. It's it just says Prismacolor on the side of it. It's got kind of a weird taper to the middle of it, like it's kind of a strange. It's a strange shape, but it's got this lid top here, and I don't know what it is about the shape of this thing, or maybe it's how you hold it, or what. But I haven't had any leads break using this thing.
Really?
And it's made by Prismacolor, and I wonder if they've just weirdly ergonomically designed it to work with their pencils because their pencils are quite soft.
Is it electric?
It's not electric, no. It's a little hand turner, but it's something about it. I think it's I'm not sure if it's the size of the barrel or what it is about it, man. But I think it cost me about $6 or $7 or something like that. I bought this a few years ago. I still see them in stores though. There's something about it. It was actually Jeff DeCall, the Marvel artist, who said, yeah, because I was telling him I was so frustrated using pencil crayons. He's like, "Oh, you got to get one of these." He's like, I've never had one break. So I bought one, and true to his word, they're pretty good.
Wow. Okay.
One
Well,
thing
on.
One thing I will suggest, though, with your Prismacolors, if you do find you're sharpening them and they keep on breaking, it might be that pencil was dropped at some point and it's fractured all the way through. So what you do is you can actually throw that pencil right in the microwave for like 20 seconds, and then just let it come back to heat again, let it come back to temperature again before you draw with it. And that can help sometimes fuse that center core. It doesn't work well with black, though, for whatever reason. I think black turns a little bit too liquid or something when you heat it.
Huh.
But it's an interesting hack. A buddy of mine showed me. He's like, yeah, throw it in the microwave. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm not.
I will definitely look up that pencil sharpener then.
Yeah, it's just a Prismacolor brand. It's a weird black. It's like a black cylinder, but it's got kind of a curved taper to the middle of it. All right. I'll get this brush to work now. I did all my black outlines with that black Molotow pen, but now I'm finding that it's drying really weird and gray. It's not giving me the black that I wanted, so I'm going over it now with a black ink that I've been using, which is this. I think it's called Demco, which isn't a brand I normally like, but this ink's actually been pretty good. So
Demco.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't like their paints. I think I've had their paints before, and I haven't been really impressed. But this black ink has got a nice boldness to it that I like. I'm always
That's good.
looking to try new inks, but I've always just kind of go back to the standard Speedball. You know.
Yeah. Well, the standards are usually a standard for a reason.
Yeah, you know, it's just kind of you can kind of predict what it's going to do, and no real surprises there, and usually not too expensive. You know, those are kind of the things that work for me. So, because art supplies get expensive, my heavens, they get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna add some highlights to this in a minute, and then I think I may call it done, and then get back to my day job.
What's the day job?
Oh, I've got a cover that I'm working on, and I can't figure it out. So I'm gonna go back to screaming into the void and figuring out what I'm gonna draw. It's one of those things where I've just kind of I've had these great ideas, and then when I go to apply the ideas, I'm finding that there's the pictures just aren't matching up like how they matched in my head. So I'm
Okay.
finding myself kind of like chasing different concepts, and then just kind of abandoning them, and then trying something else, and then abandoning that, and then just kind of picking up again. So yeah, I don't know. There's always a million ways to find the solution, and I like to get it on the first or second try. And sometimes you just don't get that lucky.
Yeah. Oop. I'm gonna go in with some heavier lines in a minute here and try and give it a little bit like more weight, you know? Do you guys think that I should go in with purple ink or black ink?
Let's see what we're looking at here.
Because I mean, the Muppets are kind of cartoony to begin with, and so I feel like the purple would keep that lightness,
Yeah, true.
but
Yeah,
black would look more like.
it could get a bit heavy with the black, maybe. Yeah, yeah, possibly.
I mean, I can always go on black on top of the purple.
True. Yeah. Yeah. You can always do the purple and just see if you have to boost it with the black later. Oh, that's sweet, Alicia. Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully Avery approves. Yeah. Once in a while, my cat Rama will see he'll see the mouse or the cursor on the screen, and he'll kind of follow it and chase it. He's a funny dude.
I would bring a pet on stream, but not everybody's down with our pets. We have rats.
Oh, I got you.
I'm
down
so
with
with that.
I'm down with any kind of pets, man. Well, within reason. If you got a pet lion, you're probably a jackass, and you probably need to not have a pet lion. But but rats are good.
Yeah, they're sweet babies. Okay, so which purple do I want? Because I used the Sailor Storia to begin with, but now that we've got the final lines, I don't have to worry about whether it's gonna. Maybe.
What am I doing now? The shininess. Oh, it's killing
The Bombay is gonna read as black. Sailor Storia is too transparent.
At least
Let's
we
do
used
this
to
one.
have rats, apparently.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're basically very small puppies, is what it comes
Yeah.
down to. They're about as intelligent as a dog. No, it's true. They're about as
Yeah.
intelligent as a dog. You can teach a rat anything you can teach a dog.
Oh, for sure.
If you, yeah, if you're willing to put the time in. Ours come to their names.
That's
Not
funny.
amethyst. Yeah. We had our first pair of rats, unfortunately, both have passed, but the first one, Penelope, it was so rare. She had whatever the instinct is that an animal needs to be like an emotional support animal, or like an actual, like she could tell when people were upset.
Mm-hmm.
And we got her just before, like 2019, so just before lockdown started, which turned out to be just a huge blessing, because this little ratto, she would go to my daughter when Ripley was upset, and she would just stay with her. You couldn't
Oh.
get her to leave. She would sit up under her chin until her breathing slowed down.
Oh, no way. Huh.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna mute myself for a second while I use the heat gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think animals know for sure, man. I know my cats do. Like if I get stressed about something, Rama usually shows up, and he usually helps me through things. He just by hanging around. Or he'll come over and bite me, which is has the same effect. It's like breaks the trance, breaks whatever is causing me to breathe funny, or whatever is causing my heart rate to be higher. He seems to know. Comes over and sorts that out for me pretty good. I never had pets growing up, so I didn't have pets until I met started dating my wife. She's always had pets, always had dogs growing up. Her parents used to have show dogs like Norwegian elk hounds and the Rottweilers and things, and so yeah, lots of dogs. We'll probably always have cats here because we live as long as we're living in an apartment anyway. If we had a yard of any kind, we'd have a dog, I think. But I don't know. This building's not really. We're there would be stairs all the time for the dog and stuff, and depending on the breed, that can be bad, and you know.
Let's see, how do I want to do these?
I'm gonna add some slight highlight, and then I'm gonna call this one done. Oh man, that's a lot of rats. That's a lot of rat babies, Alicia.
Okay, I got to see this in the chat. Just a second.
Wow.
Yeah, 9 babies. Yep. So yeah, I have heard it said that you cannot ever have uh, a boy and a girl rat because you don't
Yeah.
have 2 rats, you have 50 rats.
Oh yeah, it happens so quick too. It does. There was a time when I had snakes and I didn't have rats, but I had rodents as food, and it became very strange and awful feeling after a while for me. I didn't like it after a while because it was just, yeah, it was strange. It was very strange sort of arrangement that was happening, and yeah, they do breed very, very, very quickly. Catastrophic, very, very quickly.
I suppose it makes sense when you remember that in the wild there's gonna be like a lot of dead babies real fast.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I suppose that also, I think that's the reason why I couldn't ever bring myself to breed rats like properly,
Mhm.
because if you're doing it right, you're culling a lot of babies,
For sure. Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. It's yeah, to do it properly, yeah.
The the lady that we went to for our rats, and I don't know if she's still practicing, the supply chain issues over the past couple of years shut down a bunch of ratteries because it was harder to get good food in bulk.
Mm,
Um, but she used to breed for health and cull for temperament, and her rats were just amazing.
yeah. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about that stuff. You take that stuff for granted, I guess, a little bit, but there's a lot that goes into that kind of thing with animals for sure. Oh,
I'm
man.
really glad I went back to going with pencil crayons over watercolor.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just blend so well with
They
watercolor.
they do, yeah, and you can get away with some nice, like almost like a fleshy feel to some surfaces and things with the if you really kind of work the pencil crayon into it, and yeah, it's nice. It's funny when I was in school, they were always be like kind of forbade us to use any water any pencil crayon in any of our final assignments. It always had to be paint or something more uh, uh, professional, I guess, and for lack of a better word for them, when it came to doing final art, because using pencil crayon for stuff that's going to be scanned and printed in a magazine, maybe not the best idea because not, that stuff doesn't always scan very easily. Maybe nowadays, but back in the older days, and maybe it was a little more difficult to
Yeah,
properly record or photograph that kind of work if it was done with pencil crayon. So we were never allowed to use it in that capacity. But yeah, they do work wonderfully together. Especially the Prismacolors are such a nice, rich color most of the time.
and they work. The richness of them goes really well with the richness of these PH Martins.
Hmm.
The understanding I always had of the school side of things was sort of like when they make you show your work in math.
Yeah,
Like much easier and faster to get specific effects using the pencil crayons. And if you use them instead of whatever they've been teaching that semester, then they can't tell for sure that you know how to use the thing they've been teaching that semester.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Painting's tricky, and you can fast forward through some of the trickier parts with pencil crayon for sure. It can be a really handy tool. It's underrated, I think, and there's people out there that can do such unbelievable things with pencil crayon that it blows my mind. Like you'll see people do these realistic portraits and things, like almost pixel by pixel,
Yeah, yeah,
almost like pore by pore, and it's quite impressive to see the way they handle hair and this the color transition from flesh to lips or things like that. Like pretty amazing.
yeah. No, there are definitely some out there that are just mind blowing. Actually,
Yeah,
I was watching this guy on YouTube. He was doing the Moon Knight from the Moon Knight show, and all in pencil crayon. And afterwards, it looked like a photograph.
yeah, it's wild, eh? I know, it's incredible. I feel like I'm only good for one. I think I'm very heavy-handed when I use my pencil crayons. I feel like I use them for kind of more punctuation in places here and there, as opposed to like actually rendering anything from start to finish with them. But like the thinking that goes into rendering, a full piece in pencil crayon is pretty intense. Like you got to really be careful how you build up your layers, because you can get too much built up and then becomes unworkable. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm always amazed at how, like, I'm always wondering how hard are they pressing, how soft is their grip, like how are they pulling off these amazing photorealistic blends? It's crazy to me.
Well, it does depend on which type of crayon, and it does depend on, like different techniques. Like when I would, one of my schools, when I was in high school, I should say, not one of my schools. Oh my gosh. But that teacher would have us with pencils layer and layer and layer all these different colors, and then mix with a colorless blender at the end, pressing it all down to burnish.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and then I had a different teacher later on who taught us a different method where you were essentially burnishing from the start and almost mixing them on the page like oil pastel.
right, yeah.
But one techniques works like they work differently depending on whether you're using a softer pencil or a harder pencil, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they all got different properties for sure.
I heard paper's big with pencil crayons too, depending on the type of paper that you're using.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, you don't want to, like, I like using the Strathmore blue stuff because it's very very smooth, and it has a little bit of tooth, but you don't get a whole lot of that pencil crayon texture
Yeah.
that you can just get on regular paper or anything that's got a decent kind of tooth to it. It picks up all those marks, all the rubbings for sure.
Yeah, I just didn't. I just not a. I'm not a fan of Copics mixed with watercolor anymore.
Yeah.
I
Well, my
find
only
the.
problem, I bumped
Oh,
right
go
into you.
ahead.
Please go ahead. I was just going to say my only problem with Copics mixed with anything else is that Copics are not light fast. They are not going to stay. And
Yeah.
like you can choose your watercolors to get something that's going to stay or not, but Copics are never ever going to stay.
No.
And I'm not sure everybody who uses them online realizes that, because they'll be selling these beautiful things. And like if it's some like high schooler with just insane talent taking their first set of commissions and they're doing it all in Copics, I'm like, you gotta remember that Copics were designed for illustrations to be scanned. They are not gonna stay.
That's right. They're not archival, and so you're going to have people who go and spend $400 and $500 on crazy Copic commissions at shows, and 5 or 6 years down the road, unless you've had those things in a book or wrapped up, if they've had any exposure to light, if they've had too much exposure to air,
Mhm.
you're going to see a big change in the color and the quality for sure. And I think that was part of the other reason that they never wanted us to use things like like watercolor or sorry, Prismacolors, certain markers for finished artwork in college, because they were keeping that in mind. Things like gouache and watercolor on the right kind of paper will last, 100 years. They'll last as long as they need to last.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
depending on the pigment, some pigment,
yeah,
like you actually have to look paint by like specific pigment by specific pigment. Like there's some Prismacolors that are light fast and some that aren't. There's some watercolored
right.
colors that are light fast and some that aren't. Like
It's true.
you'll get like duplicate colors in watercolor often because the actual pigment is not light fast, but they'll make a dupe that is not the exact pigment, but it looks close enough and it will stay.
Right.
And then you have the purists fighting over it, like, well, but it's not really the color, and it's like, go die. No, that's not true. I shouldn't say that. That was a terrible thing to say. But
Oh no, you're fine.
I have never in my life been a fan of gatekeepers. The
Yeah.
fastest way to make me dislike somebody is to have them like
Oh
say
yeah.
that somebody isn't, good enough to appreciate or I don't know. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like when I learned how to do watercolor kind of traditionally, but when I taught watercolor, I refused to teach it the same way that I was taught because I really felt like there was so much emphasis put on the so-called rules of watercolor and stretching your page and doing all these things that were sort of required things to do it properly. And, I used to just kind of always laugh at that notion and just be like, no, as long as you're, exploring with the paint, it doesn't really matter if there's no right or wrong way to do it. There's just different approaches. And yeah, there's definitely gatekeepers in that kind of fine arts community with that kind of stuff for sure. Um, I never I don't cotton to that too much. It's yeah, I don't know.
And it's weird. It's weird for me because, like, as you know, Mike, like I'm 100% self-taught. Like I didn't go to art school or anything,
Yeah,
and so I don't have all these rules that were kind of like set in place for me because
yeah,
but art doesn't have rules either.
that's the thing. And I guess they're trying to teach that illustration maybe does. The separation between art and illustration is real because art is art for you, illustration is art for someone else. And so I think that's kind of like what they're trying to maybe put into those rules to a degree. The idea of a finished product as opposed to a artistic exploration. But yeah, no, it's true. Like there are no rules. It shouldn't have any rules in that way. um I don't know.
I think there's also an element of like expectation. Like when you're making art for yourself, it's an internal language, right? You
Yeah,
are like you're expressing something that doesn't need to make sense to other people.
yeah,
But with illustration, it's sort of like films, right? There's tropes and styles of communication in movies because the way that we have been making movies for decades has led, you can communicate certain things to the audience by using these tropes. So knowing about them in advance and being able to use them is a way of making sure that you can speak clearly in film,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And with illustration, similarly, there's things that are a kind of established communication,
Yep,
and knowing those kinds of techniques is more about being able to communicate clearly than it is about being necessarily good or bad.
that's it. Yeah, yeah,
And
And like,
speaking
what
to the
about
self-taught part of things, like there is no reason why you need to learn that in school, though. There's absolutely no reason.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it's like we are in a golden age of information right now.
We are. And you know what? The art comes from inside. It's like I've actually been thinking about trying to switch to my non-dominant hand for a while because my I've been rehabbing this arm injury, just to see if I can see what I can do with my other hand. I know I can do a little bit of drawing with my other hand. I don't know, it'll be different, but
I can't draw at all with my other hand.
it's a little bit of a different game mentally for sure to play. But yeah. I was going somewhere with that. I thought I had another point I was going to make, but it doesn't matter. It's good to change it up now and then, but try some new stuff. I uh, I find when I sculpting is a really good thing. Playing with clay is a really good way to learn how to draw. It sounds funny, but you get your head thinking in 3D, and um, that can really translate onto the page after you've spent a little bit of time working in 3D. You go to the page and you're thinking in 3D, and so your pencil knows, you
No,
know
absolutely.
how to work with it. But it's time consuming to sit and do that kind of stuff. But I do love sculpting. That's a huge benefit to drawing, I think. I always tell people if they wanna get better at drawing, pick up a piece of clay and mess around with it, make a maquette to work from or a head model or something, and throw a light source on it and get some different interesting shadows, and you know make some little drawings and record you know those light experiments, and you might just build some things that just become regular go-to tricks when you're doing you know certain things. especially at a convention or something like that where you're trying to do effective things quickly. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna pack this one in pretty shortly, guys, and go to my other drawing table and get back to work there. and,
Well, I'm really glad you stayed a while. It was lovely to have you for company and
oh yeah, no, it was cool to
great
hang out with you guys.
conversation.
For sure. Nice to have the show back again, and I'd like to have a channel where we could just, do like a kind of hangout, kind of thing where anyone could just kind of join in and hang out and draw. I think there's always so much to learn when you're able to share techniques or just even just talk about art supplies. I think there's a lot of stuff. I mean, sometimes it can work both ways, like I have a particular eraser that I like. I used to rave about this eraser, and now they're impossible to find because I think everyone went out and bought them. So you can kind of shoot yourself in the foot sometimes. but yeah.
What eraser is that?
It's the Prismacolor Scholar eraser. It's I don't know if I have one handy here. The only way you can buy them now is if you buy there's a Canson anime drawing set that they sell. It comes with 2 half decent brush pens, blue pencil, a red pencil, I think a thing of like sketch cards or something, and then it also comes with a Scholar Prismacolor eraser, and it's basically just a black triangle eraser, rounded like a guitar pick, like almost like a guitar pick. And I've got one here. It's just a really worn down one, but I love how dense and how good they are. But they're really hard to find. Like,
Does it pull up the paper at all? Like, I
Um,
find that the harder the eraser, the more likely it is to pull at the paper. Is
I
is that a
find this
problem with
one's
that one?
pretty clean. Yeah, like I haven't had any trouble with this one.
Ooh.
It's a really good one, but they're hard to find. It's a blue little like bubble pack, and it just says Scholar on it. I can't find a package of it here, but it's really good, and you can see them on eBay sometimes for Amazon, places like that. Sometimes for as much as like $30 for an eraser,
Wow.
which is nuts.
For one eraser?
Yeah, it's because they don't make them anymore. I think that's the problem. I think the reason the price has gone so crazy is because they simply cannot be found. But what I found was a little bit of a hack. These little stupid anime sets. They're like $15 on Amazon,
Yeah.
and they come with one of the erasers, and they come with extra pencils and stuff too, which is fine for whatever spare pencil, rainy day pencil kind of stuff. But for me, it was worth it just to get the damned eraser because it's that good.
Well, thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, if you see them, and you might see them in your local shop. It might just be hard to find in Canada. I'm not sure, but they're not easy to find. They used to sell them at Michael's, in just the drawing area, and Prismacolor Blue Scholar. It's called, or Scholar, I guess. I say Scholar, but it's probably Scholar. Probably Scholar. I don't know why I would say Scholar. Just because I'm weird like that, I guess. But anyway, yeah, it's good. You can find one, get one for sure.
Yeah, I'll see if Opus sells them next time I'm in there.
Well, now we know what to get you for your birthday.
Yeah, you can find them. Do they make left-handed things? Yeah, I think they make left-handed things. Just gotta go to the Leftorium, and see if Ned's working that day, and he'll hook you up with left-handed things for sure. Throw some white paint on this, and then we'll call this one done. And I'll fight with my scanner for 10 minutes and try to get it to scan. Definitely time for a new scanner. You got any other projects coming up right now, Mike? Anything you're working on that's in the back burner there?
No direct projects in that way, no.
Yeah. Same here, man. I've got I'm working on my first covered gig since June, so it's been a while for me since I've done anything in that way. So it's nice to be kind of back at it a bit. But now that, of course, of course, when these jobs do show up, they show up when everything else is on fire too, right? So like I'm trying to get all my Dodge orders mailed out, and then I'm having to conceptualize a cover and plan for a trip. And honestly, I don't know how people who have kids can do it, because I've never had kids, and I never would have had time in any point in my career, I think, to have made sense for me. Um, but I'm always amazed at people who work in the comics or arts industry, and they have kids too. So my hat's off to you, Casey, for
Thank you.
being able to produce such great work. You know, in the
Well, it's all about just you can't, it's like not looking down. You know, you can't ask yourself, how am I doing it? You just have to go, you
yeah,
know?
sure.
If you stop and say, let's make this possible, it's never going to seem sensible. If you dive right in, you kind of are forced by circumstance to make it work.
Yeah, like it has to work. Yeah, I get it for sure. Yeah,
It also helps to choose your partner carefully. My husband's an excellent dad.
yeah, yeah. That's key for sure.
That makes a big difference.
That's good to hear. Yeah, for sure.
I think it was Abraham Lincoln achieved all his success to his wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what is going on? Facebook's auto playing something.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah, no, it was my phone was like, "Oh, I see you were interested in this live stream thing. Let me show you everybody else's stories." And I'm like, "What? Why though?" I wish I
well.
knew.
Oh, sorry.
Like, I wonder if there's any way to tell who's still watching or how many people are still watching.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I think on Stefan's end, he can probably see how many people are still watching. But
I mean, if there's nobody watching, I'm still going to be doing this with you, but still, I'm just curious, you know.
do you ever jump on and just like draw on Instagram or anything like that, like on the Instagram Live or?
Sometimes, but the thing about that is the hey Andreas, the streaming platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Twitch and all of that, the algorithm favors consistency and response.
Hmm.
And if you don't get people watching right away, you don't get recommended, and then nobody sees what you're doing.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And it's nice to stream. It's disheartening to stream to 0 people for hours.
Oh, for sure it is. Absolutely. Yeah, I could see
Yeah,
that.
no, the algorithm is just ridiculous.
Hmm. Yeah, like every so often I'll find myself going, "Oh, I wonder what happened to so and so. I haven't seen them online in so long, and I used to see their posts like 5 times a day." And then you go and find them, and you're like, "No, everything's fine. They're still there. They just stopped showing you their feed for some reason. Like, yeah, the algorithm just said, nah, not anymore." And it's like it's really weird.
Yeah, no good.
Oh, Eric Paris, is he still in the house? Hope you're doing well, Eric. Hope
Hello,
you,
Eric.
hope you got your Dodge comics. I think I sent you a copy of Dodge. Let me know if you didn't get your Dodge comic yet, Eric, and I'll send that out, because I know I'd sent you the artwork for your Kickstarter earlier, because you got those great big pieces. But your actual comic books, I have them here. I'm pretty sure I sent them to you already, though. So yeah, just stay tuned for those. All right. I think I'm just about there. Yeah, the pencil crayon's underrated, man. Do some good stuff with the pencil crayon.
Yeah, I'm training them. Really, really focused in on training my hand to be a lot lighter with my pencil crayons now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just so I can get that nice blending with the watercolor.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I've been doing lately? Sometimes I'll take like a green Prismacolor and just do a sketch, and then I'll grab some like yellow watercolor paint and just go right into it. And a little bit of the watercolor will activate some of the powder or the residue of the Prismacolor. And you get some really interesting things happening
Oh
sometimes.
wow, really? Oh,
Blending,
Yeah,
yeah,
especially because the Prismacolors are oil-based, so there's gonna be some resist effects happening.
yeah,
If you've got
true.
the resist effects and then a particulating watercolor, I bet that's gonna be astoundingly cool.
Yeah, you get some nice, strange blends with it. But I did this one giant Swamp Thing piece, and it was really just a green pencil crayon sketch. But I decided to fill in some areas for midtones, and it was done on this blue paper actually. And I went in with the watercolor, and I found the watercolor was actually activating some of the underdrawing, which made for some really interesting shadows that happened. And I was happy with the results. It was a total surprise. Like I had no idea it was going to go down like that. So yeah, it's always nice when that happens.
I can't remember what chemical it is, but Bill Sikembic likes to dip his he'll sometimes dip his pencil crayons in a chemical of some kind, and it'll literally like almost liquidize the
Oh, no
pencil
kidding, eh? Wow.
Acetone or alcohol, maybe?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
could be
Like I think like a
acetone.
nail
Yeah.
polish remover or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, acetone then.
Yep.
Acetone.
Yeah, and so he would do stuff like that, and he would also with like Crayola crayons. He loved using Crayola crayons, and
Oh
what
yeah.
he dips them into chemical.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of those dudes, man. Like I've seen him. He does a lot of stuff with whiteout too. But what he does is he buys the whiteout pens, and he'll do like a pinprick hole on one end of it instead of using the actual dispensing end. He'll put a pinprick in the barrel instead, and he'll draw with a pinprick, and it gives
Yeah,
him
I've seen that online.
this really weird line sometimes, And yeah, it's pretty cool. He's a genius, man. My God, that guy is something else.
Yeah, his portraits are absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All the ones for the people that have passed away. Every time he does a portrait of somebody, like it just blows my
Oh
mind.
yeah, the memorial portraits are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really, really good. Yeah, I've gotten to meet Bill Sienkiewicz once. I at the Heroes Con in Charlotte, and he was the most amazing conversation. Just a super nice guy, and yeah, I felt really lucky just to spend a few minutes with him. I know my friend Casey's gone and seen him, hung out with him a bunch of times at conventions, and even went to the Academy of Illustrators that Bill was teaching at, and actually got to sit in a few Bill Sienkiewicz sessions drawing with him, which
Oh wow, nice.
doing life drawing with Bill Sienkiewicz. I mean, I can't imagine how friggin' awesome that would be. So yeah, he's had that experience, which is pretty awesome. Pretty envious of that because he's a really cool artist.
Yeah, no, that's why I started drawing with his artwork.
Oh, yeah, I believe it, man. I believe it. Super influential guy. Yeah, and just so it's always nice when you meet these guys and they're nice. They're nice people, And he's
Yeah.
a really cool guy. Like, really, just didn't matter what walk of life you were from. He gave you the time of day, and gave you some of his time, and would talk about anything. Yeah, just a really interesting guy. All right, good people. I think I'm gonna wrap it up for now. But
Well, lovely spending the evening with you. I'm so glad that you stayed.
yeah, it was fun, and your drawings looking awesome. I love that. That's just fantastic. And yeah, you're killing it as always, Mike. That's a good looking piece. Love
Thank you, sir.
Of it. Love the dynamic of it. The shadow, the round, the circular shadow framing it in at the bottom is nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I like your use of solid black, man. You always seem to know where to put it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I like my blacks.
For sure. All right, well, UT be good, and thanks again, Stefan, if you're still listening. And otherwise, I'll catch up with you all soon.
Yeah,
All
take
right.
care,
Have
Mike.
a great night.
Have a good weekend. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, just so you're aware, I'm the very quiet artist.
That's fine. You let me know if you want me to chatter at you. Gonna bring up the stream chat.
Yeah, so anytime you feel like asking anything or saying anything, feel free.
Okay. Thank you, Murray. Much appreciated. Murray said all of our work was looking good.
Yeah, Murray's great.
Seems like everybody in this group is super
Yeah,
nice.
no, Murray really supports a lot of the artists and shares their work. And
I'm not 100% satisfied with this, but I don't know what else I can do with it right now, so I'm just going to move on to the next bit. Okay. I wonder what kind of green I can get if I mix the pink and the green. Like, what kind of neutral is that going to give me?
painting green?
Yeah, pink and green is going to be like a brownie color.
Oh, it's
And I wonder
definitely
if
going to
it's
be a
going to
brownie
be
color.
my question, like, because I don't want to necessarily, like, I've gone so bright with these that I don't want to necessarily introduce another color, if that makes sense.
I think so, yeah.
So if I can make my neutral out of the mix of the pink and the green, then that saves the day.
Find a color that I use a lot now, especially when I'm going in to do a shade or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
is purple.
Yeah, purple's a good color for that.
And sometimes I'll mix it in a little bit with the black as I gray the black down, or
Yeah.
water the black down, and mix in a little blue, and then the purple.
I think this is a good shade of mud for this. Yeah, that'll be a good shade. Okay. I have to be careful because this particular green lifts really easily.
Kind of weird. I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like after school and I haven't finished yet. And everybody else has gone home, and I'm like, no, I gotta go home now.
Maybe. Well, you don't have to stay with me. Like, I don't want you to feel like you're in detention.
No, I wasn't saying it that way. That's just what's going through my head right now. That's a weird thought that's going through my head right now. I just can't
That's
quite
fair.
explain it.
No, it's totally fair. It doesn't even necessarily need to be explained, you know? You guys are also skillful. I feel like I did not bring nearly as strong a game as you guys brought.
Oh, I don't know about that at all. Can't remember the Muppet character because I don't know the Muppets too well.
Hmm.
Um, but the one with the button eyes,
Yeah?
that was just awesome.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
For me, I'm still learning as I go. Forever a student to the craft.
Well, sure, that's the way you got to do it.
Yeah, I don't ever want to be a master at it.
Well, I always heard, like, if you ever reach the point where you feel like, yeah, this is good enough, then you can no longer see how you can improve. You're not going to be able to get better. You're done, at least for now.
Yeah.
So I'm always kind of scared of being satisfied of the work because that satisfaction has a dark side, has a price to it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, I am my own worst critic,
Hmm.
and I mean, it comes from being self-taught, and I'd look at something that I did, and I was like, nope, that finger could be better, that knuckle could be better, or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. Um, but I just kept pushing myself and pushing myself and pushing myself, and nobody did any art of any kind in my family.
Hmm.
My sister did later, much, much later on in life.
Yeah.
So not until she was like in her 40s.
Yeah.
Um, but she did it for therapeutic reason,
Mm-hmm.
which is the other thing I really like about art.
Yeah.
Is the therapeutic aspect of it. It's a nice way to escape when you need to escape.
To escape, to exercise specific control, you know? like to get things out that are difficult to put into words because you don't need to use words.
Yeah, that's what I love about sequential storytelling. You don't necessarily need words to tell a comic book story.
Yeah.
I know there was I can't remember the artist that did it, but a well-known pro artist, and they did a comic book that was literally no words in it whatsoever. It was just the entire
Yeah.
comic book was silent.
That might have been done a couple of times, but it's always impressive when it is done and done well.
Oh, that is so hard to do. At least in my opinion, I just especially when you're trying to get the narrative emotion across and what might be going through that individual's him or her head at the time in the page. And
Hmm.
the most important aspect for me when it comes to storytelling is getting that human emotion in there.
Yeah, sure. Well, because that's the part that lets people connect with the story.
Why in the like '90s when a lot of comic books were just about style and flash, and there were just like a lot of pinups and
Well, that was also connected to the whole, issue of people trying to treat it as an investment game as opposed to,
yeah, yeah.
a means of communication. Because when you're just looking for an item to purchase for your portfolio in your basement, then you're less interested in the story and more interested in whose signature is on the page.
Like when I was teaching myself storytelling and stuff, one of the books I actually went and picked up, and a bunch of people I knew at the time were like, "Hey, why did you pick this book up, Mike?" Was a book on body language,
Oh, that's cool.
and the reason why I picked it up is for it to be able to actually incorporate that from and when I'm reading a script. If I get the feeling, like maybe this guy's being, maybe Peter Parker, for an example, is being really defensive with Mary Jane Watson because she's, having a conversation with another guy, then I know generally what guys will do is they will brace. And so if the guy's in between the girl and the other guy, the guy that's going out with the girl will put the arm on the bar in create a brace, create a blockade, so that guy can actually get any closer to her. And it's a body language thing. It's just something that we do unconsciously. And it was a really, really, really interesting book to read. And
I mean, it
just like
sounds
on,
interesting even to hear about it. Like, I think that's a fantastic choice you made there.
yeah, no, it was fascinating. Like people's blink rate when two people are having a conversation that they're both having um they're both really involved in that conversation together.
Hmm.
Next time this happens and you're talking to one of your friends and you two are really involved in that conversation, pay attention to your blank rate, because generally what happens is people's blank rates actually start to sync up.
That's
So
wild.
your blinking will actually sync with the person that you're talking to, and it's crazy. Been a lot of
I've heard
science.
that happens with breathing too. Like, if you're breathing at the same pace as someone, then the two of you are really in sync at the moment.
Yep, yep. And also body mirroring. People will mirror. if you cross your legs and you're in a really good conversation with a person, and you two people are getting along very well, the other person will generally mirror what the other person's doing, um, with their legs, with their arms. People will also like subconsciously they'll point to what they feel like might be the best feature on their face. So if they feel like their
Really?
eyes, oh yeah, yeah. If they feel like their eyes are the best feature on their face, their hands will generally kind of like rest up, because so hands are very much like a pointer, for a lot of people. Like especially when you're looking at somebody else's hands when they're talking, and so
Sure,
if
sure.
their hands go to their eyes, they'll point to their eyes if they feel like their eyes are their best feature. If they feel like their smile is the best feature, their hand will be a little closer to their mouth. If they feel like their nose is not their best feature, they might cover their nose up a little bit with their hand.
I wonder
Um,
if you have to have a conscious opinion about what your best feature is then. Because I don't think if you put a gun to my head, I don't think I would know what my best feature is.
Well, I think some people, you do hear it, like as you, like for an example, you take a guy for an example, and he hears from his male friends, or he hears from girls that he knows that, man, your arms are great and stuff like that, right? And
Mhm.
he just hears this in general conversation and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
then subconsciously, your brain picks it up as, hey, I just put 4 leg posts underneath this table. Now that tabletop's solid because, my head's telling me, hey, I got good arms.
Okay.
Or, hey, I got good eyes. Or, hey, I have good hands. Yeah, people just, I don't know, it's weird. It's, the brain is so weird. It's,
Yeah, like pretty much the one of the constants of human life. Brains are weird.
well, the brain is like only interested in one thing, like for yourself, and that's your survival. And that's why a lot of people have a hard time, breaking out of negative patterns and stuff like that. The reason why a lot of people go back to those negative patterns is because the brain wants to go back to those negative patterns, and the brain sees it as a comfortable place to be, and that makes and it's a comfortable place for the brain to be for your survival. And even though
Yeah.
that negative place is not necessarily good for your survival at all, but our brain, just for whatever reason, sees it being as, okay, I'm comfortable this way. I don't want to change this because changing this is scary.
Yeah, or sort of like the improved understanding we have of the adrenaline response, right? It's not fight or flight, it's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Like, because your brain decides without you what it feels the best survival strategy is going to be. And like if you have a freeze response, your parasympathetic nervous system will literally paralyze you. There's
Yep.
nothing you can do to stop it. And for a long time, people didn't understand that. And so, like, it was standard training. Like, if the person didn't move or respond, then, they must not have been that scared. They weren't fighting or fleeing. So, you know, it led to a lot of trouble for a lot of people. And then fawning is apparently a thing that's a lot more common in people who've had like a history of abuse, right? Like, especially if you were a child in an abusive household, the instinctive, uncontrolled reaction might be to like go along and try to placate the person who's threatening you, right? And that can look really bad from outside. That can look confusing and not understandable from outside. Like,
Yeah.
brains are weird.
They definitely are. And no user manual came with it either.
Yeah.
remember reading somewhere that there are scientists have recently discovered that there are so many neural pathways in the human brain that if you were to count them one every second, it would take you 1,000,000 years or something like that
Mm,
to count all the neural pathways in your own brain.
wild.
There's more neural pathways in your brain than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy stuff that they're discovering these days about the human brain. And there's still so much about it that we just don't know.
I just saw your message, Alicia, about Andy Runton's books. That actually sounds really interesting. Animals with facial expressions telling the story just through those reactions. It could be really moving. There's a lot of stories that get told um, through animals or through fantasy or through um, characters, right? Because it's easier for us to talk about things and think about things that are upsetting or that might be a threat to our own egos if we put them on something that we don't identify with. Kermit with lips looks weird.
Well, I think it's time for me to call it.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure spending time with you. Thanks for continuing to hang out with me.
Absolutely, and likewise.
And hopefully we'll get to do another one together.
I'm sure we will eventually. Just so I don't pronounce your name wrong. How do you say your name again?
Casey Wilson.
Casey Wilson. Okay.
Hmm.
I will look you up on Instagram then.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Might do a couple little highlights and stuff like that when I get up tomorrow on this, and then it'll be done. All right, Casey.
Well, all right. You have a wonderful night.
Thank you as well. Enjoy the rest of your time.
All right. Goodbye.
Performance looking great.
Yay. Thank you. It's just you and me now, guys. We're shutting this tags down together. Last one's at the after party. Actually, you know what? If this becomes a thing more often where people stay late for tags, like after party is definitely the thing we're calling it. Or it will be if I am part of them. Heck yeah, the party doesn't stop. I am a party. I'm a walking, talking party. Leonard always helps these things come together. Great meeting you too, Alicia. Have a wonderful night. Hope the kitties are super snuggly. And hope to see you the next time I'm here. So Murray, my hope is that as I finish several of these, the cheerleader effect is going to make them all look better, right? 'Cause that's what they say, right? That a team of cheerleaders is pretty in part because it's a group of pretty people all in the same place and your brain like assigns equal status to them. So maybe artificially they'll all look as good as the best one of the bunch. Oop. Well, I'm glad you're back. Please feel free to say something in the chat if you'd like me to speak out a bit more. Let's see. All right. Have a great night, Murray. Stephen, I wonder if you're still with me. fudge, a mudge, a mudge, a mudge. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool. It's cool.